Discover the incredible truth, 5 shocking realities of life as a temple prostitute in Mesopotamia. Clara's world spun under the bright, noisy lights of Chicago, where she poured coffee and cleared plates in a diner bustling with stories. As a single mother of 2, she juggled 2 jobs, exhausted by the day's grind. Every evening, she stumbled home, her body heavy with fatigue, casting weary glances at her children nestled in their blankets, dreaming of futures brighter than her own. Bills piled up like dirty dishes, and the looming shadow of financial strain wrapped around her heart, squeezing tight. Yet amid the chaos, Clara found solace in a glimmer of something unexpected. The afternoon sun slanted through the window as she rummaged through an old cardboard box, family heirlooms she inherited but never looked through. Then she came across it, a faded journal belonging to her grandmother. Dust flew into the air as she opened it, revealing yellowed pages that whispered stories of an ancestral woman who navigated the world as a temple prostitute in ancient Mesopotamia. The words raced through Clara's mind like wildfire, igniting a tumult of emotions, a strange mix of pride and disbelief. Her ancestors, trapped in time, held strength and dignity that baffled contemporary norms. How could women, revered for their resilience, carry such weight through the ages? "Mom! You've got to see this." Clara rushed to find her mother, her heart pounding with excitement. But when she shared the tale, her mother's eyes narrowed, an icy barrier sliding between them. "You're chasing shadows, Clara. That's not our legacy." The tension skyrocketed. Clara's dreams crashed against her mother's raw disapproval, igniting an incendiary argument about identity and pride. "It's about honoring where we came from," she exclaimed, shaking with emotion. Waves of doubt washed over her. Here she was, struggling to make ends meet in a world that felt unforgiving. Her heart raced, a heavy reminder of the positive lineage she wanted to embrace, yet her mother's words echoed in her mind, clawing at the edges of her resolve. Just when Clara thought she had enough on her plate, a glimmer of hope appeared in the form of a text from a wealthy friend, an offer to be a party planner for exclusive events. As the excitement bubbled, reality crashed in. The job reeked of sleaze and blurred lines. How could she help her children when the price of poverty pushed her toward choices that gnawed at her conscience? Before she could process her feelings, she felt a suffocating weight bearing down on her. The memory of those temple women glimmered with the promise of resilience, but the world around her painted a different picture. "What do I choose?" she thought, caught between financial security and personal integrity. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Clara wrestled with her choices and her mother's judgment, silence wrapped itself around them. Clara poured her soul into an argument for understanding, igniting sparks of unrecognized strength in her lineage. The lingering doubt clawed at her heart. Could she embrace this ancestor's legacy without feeling shame for her struggles? Her thoughts broke through the noise, awakening a fierce desire to reclaim her identity, not from survival alone, but from dignity. Clara stood at the intersection of past and present, with her children's futures weighing heavily on her shoulders. Just as her mother began to soften, fear gripped Clara, leaving her breathless. Would she find a way to redefine her worth while honoring those who came before her? The path ahead remained shrouded in uncertainty, but one thing was clear: the next chapter of her journey was about to unfold, and it promised to challenge everything she thought she knew. Clara's mind raced, grappling with her options as shadows danced across the walls of her cramped apartment. The fading light resembled her hopes, dim but still flickering. She could practically hear the echoes of her grandmother's wisdom from those yellowed pages. "You're not defined by your circumstances. You rise above them." The words hummed in her thoughts like a soft melody, urging her to take up the mantle of resilience, just like those women of old. But how? The offer from her friend weighed heavily on her heart. The alluring name of party planner felt like a mask, hiding something unhealthy beneath the surface. Clara sat at the kitchen table, fingers brushing against the journal as she stared into the distance. Each thud of the clock felt like a reminder of time slipping away, ticking down to a moment when she would have to decide what kind of mother she wanted to be. Her children, small and innocent, were her lifeline. With every breath, Clara felt the responsibility grow. What future could she carve out for them? A little voice in her head whispered, "You can make it work, Clara. And if it means diving into this messy offer, isn't it worth it?" Yet, another strong instinct chided her, at what cost? The next day felt like a blur of chaos. She pushed through the long hours at the diner, the smell of coffee and fried food no longer comforting but suffocating. Each clink of plates felt like it echoed her turmoil. When her boss, a gruff man with a soft heart, caught her lost in thought, he leaned against the counter. "You've got that look again. Worrying about the bills? I get it. But don't forget to live too, Clara." His eyes softened with some understanding, and she felt a flicker of gratitude. "What if I can't? What if I'm stuck in this cycle forever?" She whispered, half expecting a wise answer. "Sometimes, you gotta take the risks. Only way to break free," he said lightly, unaware of the weight he laid upon her heart. His casual advice resonated in unexpected ways, sending a pulse of courage through her veins. Could she risk it all? Clara returned home that night, her thoughts still racing. She gathered her kids close, their warm bodies melting the chill of uncertainty. What would Grandma do? She wondered aloud, humming an old lullaby as they drifted into sleep. The journal lay open, the ink of her ancestors calling out to her, demanding she listen. She made up her mind well before daybreak. The world was falling apart, but so was her fear. The road ahead would not be easy, but it felt too essential to ignore. The idea of turning the party planning gig into something genuine and authentic began to bloom in her mind, a chance to take control, to escort her family from the shadows of despair into a brighter light. As the sun broke through, Clara stood at her window, watching the city wake up. A new feeling crept in, nudging against her doubt, hope. But as she put together a plan to navigate this new venture, Clara received an unexpected call. It was her friend who offered the job, and what she had to say made Clara's insides twist with apprehension. "I need you to come by and discuss a big opportunity. It might change everything for you." Clara's heart raced. Was this the breakthrough she needed, or another push down a slippery slope? There she was, on the verge of a decision that could determine the course of her legacy, wondering if she was ready for the answers waiting on the other side. Clara stared at her phone, the faint buzz vibrating against the wooden table, a jolt of alertness coursing through her. The words her friend had spoken echoed in the silence of her apartment, mingling with the distant sounds of her children playing in the next room. It was a pivotal moment. She could feel it like a thick fog wrapping around her, heavy and disorienting. Taking a deep breath, Clara pushed herself off the chair and paced the small living space, the walls closing in as she contemplated what big opportunity could await her. What was waiting for her on the other side of that conversation? A twinge of excitement battled with the tightening in her chest, the uncertainty of it all gnawing at the edges of her will. Finally, she resolved to meet with her friend. It could be the light at the end of a tunnel that had felt impossibly long and dark. Within the hour, she was dressed and ready, her hair pulled back tightly, transforming her from the frazzled mother into a determined woman. She grabbed her coat, glancing back at her children's laughter echoing through the narrow hall. "I'll be right back," she assured them, wishing she felt a fraction of the confidence that they radiated. The drive to her friend's office was filled with a mix of nerves and anticipation. Clara's palms gripped the steering wheel, and she wondered if she was making a colossal mistake. What if this opportunity was indeed a trap, pulling her deeper into a world she wanted to shield her kids from? No, she needed to believe that it could lead to something good. Her grandmother's words flickered through her like hope in a storm. As she entered the bustling cafe where they agreed to meet, the aroma of espresso and freshly baked pastries wrapped around her like a warm hug. Clara took a seat in a corner, her pulse quickening every time the door creaked open. Her thoughts spiraled, imagining the possibilities of this meeting, the different paths it could lead her down. Minutes felt like hours, and just when she thought about leaving, her friend appeared, a wide smile plastered on her face. "Clara! I'm so glad you made it," she chirped, slipping into the seat across from her. Her enthusiasm was infectious, but Clara couldn't shake the tension gripping her heart. "What's this big opportunity you mentioned?" Clara asked, her voice steadied by genuine curiosity rather than fear. Her friend leaned in closer, the excitement radiating from her. "We're doing a major event for a high-profile client. They need someone with fresh ideas, someone real. I thought of you immediately. You're perfect for this." Clara's heart pounded. Fresh ideas? Something real? This could indeed be her moment. What exactly would I be doing? You'd be leading the creative touch, setting up everything from themes to, of course, the execution. Her friend paused, gauging Clara's reaction. This could open doors for other events, too. You'd be in charge. The gravity of her words swept over Clara like a wave, but then the weight of her responsibility came crashing back. Could she truly handle this? The confidence of a leader compared to the fear of failure felt like an impossible balance. What about the kids? Clara's voice trembled, laced with worry. I can't just leave everything behind. Clara, this is a chance for you to grow. You're doing this for them, right? A better future? Her friend searched her eyes, a flicker of understanding passing between them. Clara's heart raced as she considered what could unfold from this decision. The possibilities seemed endless yet daunting. What was she willing to risk? As fear battled with hope, she realized something vital either way, everything was about to change. But just then, a text notification flashed on her phone screen, and her stomach dropped. It was a message from someone she hadn't heard from in ages, a familiar name tied to old choices, both terrifying and exhilarating. Clara felt her pulse quicken as she read the message, her mind racing faster than her heart, teasing the boundaries of her courage. Was this really the moment everything shifted, or a path leading her back to the shadows she wanted to escape? A swirl of emotions enveloped her as she read the new message, trapping her between two worlds in a decision she hadn't anticipated. What awaited her when she replied? Clara drew in a long breath, her heart on the edge of an unexpected revelation. Clara's fingers hovered above the screen, the message staring back at her like an old ghost. The name brought a rush of memories, some warm, others more like shadows that lingered just out of reach. Clara? Her friend's voice broke through the fog around her. Are you okay? She blinked, her gaze snapping back to the cafe and the now blurry figure in front of her. Yeah. I just got a text from Jason, she managed, the name tasting bitter on her tongue. It's been a long time. Jason? Her friend's brow furrowed. Isn't he the artist from that gallery you used to frequent? Yeah. Clara bit her lip, the memories flooding back like a tide. The laughter, the late-night talks about dreams and art, the passion that once filled her life before the reality of motherhood anchored her to the present. What did he say? Her friend urged gently, concern etched across her features. Just wanted to catch up, see how I'm doing, Clara replied, trying to sound nonchalant. But it was more than that. The words felt like an invitation back into a world she had set aside. The world that had once ignited her creativity and ambition. Have you thought about replying? Her friend asked, tilting her head. It could be a great way to rekindle that part of your life, you know? Clara weighed her options. The text felt like a pull back to who she was before motherhood. That Clara had dreams beyond grocery lists and preschool pickups. But then what about the new person she was becoming? The one trying to forge a path for her family's future? Maybe she started, uncertain. But at the same time, I'm taking this leap into something new with the event. I don't know if I should open that door again. Life's about balance, her friend said, reaching for her hand. You can embrace your past while stepping into your future. Clara felt warm at her friend's support, but doubt crept back in, cold and uninvited. Could she really juggle the weight of both? Before Clara could reply, a wave of laughter erupted from her kids just outside the cafe, and it pulled her focus, anchoring her back to her reality. The sound wrapped around her, reminding her why she was there in the first place. I can't keep them waiting, she said slowly, glancing back at her phone. The text from Jason still sat unread. But I can't tell if this meeting is a distraction or an opportunity. Why don't you talk to him first? Just to see? Her friend's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Then decide what you want to do. Clara nodded, though uncertainty hung heavy in her chest. Maybe she could find a way to reconnect with her past while embracing the future her friend offered. She grabbed her phone, reading the message again. Just as she was about to type a response, the cafe door swung open, and another familiar face stepped in, a face that sent a rush of emotions down her spine. Clara's breath caught in her throat as her eyes met those of a former mentor, someone who had once brought out the best in her. Clara? He asked, a hint of surprise on his face. Is that really you? For a moment, everything around her faded, and her heart raced at the unexpected encounter. This could be either a blessing or a curse. Hi. Clara said, forcing a smile, though her insides churned. It's surprising to see you here. And in that instant, Clara realized she stood at yet another crossroads. Old connections, new dreams, and everything in between swirled in her mind. What choices awaited her now? Would she step into her past or embrace the future unfolding before her? Suddenly, she felt the weight of the moment. This meeting could change everything again. Clara's heart raced as she took in the sight of her mentor, Daniel. The years had softened his features but hadn't dulled the spark of creativity in his eyes. The memories came rushing back, the art shows, the critiques, the way he had once seen potential in her when she couldn't see it herself. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I was just meeting a friend, but now. He paused, scanning her face. It's wonderful to see you. How have you been? Busy, Clara replied, the word hanging awkwardly between them. Motherhood, work, you know, she gestured vaguely. But good. How about you? Daniel straightened and took a seat at her table, his presence both comforting and daunting. I've been working on my latest series. It's different from what I've done before, but I think it'll resonate if I can capture the right audience. Clara's mind drifted. His words swirled her back to scribbled notes in her sketchbooks and dreams of showcasing her work, the fire from those late nights spent painting fanned anew. I'd love to see it. His smile widened. You had a talent, Clara. You still do. Have you been creating? She hesitated, feeling the weight of his gaze. Not really. With everything it's hard to find time. The admission tasted like failure, a stark contrast to all she'd hoped to achieve before life took its unexpected turns. But you should. Daniel encouraged, leaning in. Art is a part of who you are. You can't just let it fade away. It's like I always said, you must feed your soul. The encouragement churned the waters of her doubt. Should she have been feeding her soul instead of just surviving the day-to-day? But how could she justify the time? Her children saw her as their whole world now. I'm trying to find balance, she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. I have the kids, and, well, I feel like I can't focus on those dreams anymore. Daniel's expression softened. Clara, your dreams are important, not just for you, but for your children. They need to see you thrive, to see you passionate about something. It gives them permission to chase their own dreams. Tears pricked her eyes. She wanted to be that person, the creative soul who inspired, and yet, she felt trapped by responsibility. I used to think I could do it all, now I'm not so sure. Life changes us, but it doesn't have to erase us, he said firmly, the wisdom in his voice striking a chord deep inside her. What would it take for you to reclaim that part of yourself, even just a glimpse? Clara's mind raced. Could she really find space for her creativity amid the chaos of motherhood? Before she could answer, her phone buzzed again, pulling her back to reality. It was Jason's name flashing on the screen. Her heart skipped, the pull of the past beckoned once more. Is everything okay? Daniel asked, glancing at her phone. It's just an old acquaintance reaching out, she said, an uneasy tightness settling in her chest. Maybe it's a sign, he said with an encouraging nod. You could decide to explore that connection. The words wrapped around her, pushing her toward an answer. But was she ready? The pull of her past felt like an anchor weighing her down, even as it offered the hint of something thrilling and free. She glanced from the phone to Daniel, the question echoing in her heart, could she embrace both? The past and the present? And as she stared back at her mentor, the flicker of hope ignited once more. Would she answer Jason, or would her mentor's words lead her to something greater? Clara's fingers trembled as she stared at the screen, the name Jason igniting memories that had lain dormant for years. The last time they spoke, life had been simpler before the responsibilities of motherhood, the weight of decisions that seemed to distance her from everything she once loved. The ringing buzz of her phone pierced her thoughts like an impatient child tugging at her sleeve. What will you do? Daniel's voice was soft, but it held the weight of years of guidance. I don't know, she admitted, glancing at him. Part of me wants to respond, to see where this goes. But what if it leads to complications? Life is messy, Daniel shot back gently, the corners of his mouth quirking up as if they shared a joke only they understood. But sometimes, the mess is where we find ourselves. She let that sink in. The mess. The excitement. For the first time in a long while, her heart yearned for a stir of excitement she thought she had sacrificed. Wasn't it about time she rediscovered herself? Clara took a deep breath, holding the phone tightly as if it would slip from her grasp. Her thoughts raced. How would Jason fit into her life now? Would he see her the artist? The woman who once dreamed of galleries and fame? Or would he see only the tired mother struggling to balance it all? What do you want? Daniel's question cut through her indecision. What do you really want, Clara? She hesitated, grappling with the truth of that question. Did she want to answer Jason? To reconnect with someone who had shared her past? Or were there still flickers of her artistic ambitions, buried under the layers of her daily routine? I want, she started, but the words faltered. Deep down, she longed for connection both with the past and with her passions. The ghost of who she used to be stood on the sidelines, watching, waiting to be brought back into the light. As if sensing her internal struggle, Daniel leaned a little closer. Where does your heart lead you? Find that answer, and the path will become clearer. Clara looked at her phone again, heart racing. Would a response be an admission of defeat, or would it be the first bold step back toward reclaiming her identity? She thought about her kids, their innocent faces encouraging her with every ounce of love they gave. They deserved a mother who pursued her dreams, one whose passion danced through their home like sunlight filtering through the trees. For a brief moment, her legs wobbled under the weight of the decision. Finally, Clara glanced back to Daniel and nodded slightly, determination replacing uncertainty. I'll do it, she declared, the words bursting forth like a dam breaking under pressure. But as her fingers hovered over the screen, a pang of reality cut through her resolve. What if Jason represented something she wouldn't be able to handle? Something that would tangle her in confusion and excitement, pulling her further from the grounded life she'd built. With a swipe, she opened the message, her heart pounding. Hey, it's been a while, are you free to talk? The option lay before her like a fork in the road, heavy with possibilities. Should she chase that fleeting connection or draw back into the comfort of her current life? Just then, a familiar laugh erupted from across the cafe. Clara turned, her gaze catching on two women at the back table who were chatting animatedly. She recognized one of them instantly. It was Lily, her childhood friend who had shared her dreams of painting and exploring art together. Could this moment, filled with laughter and unexpected reunions, shift the course of her journey? And in that split second, Clara knew her heart was leaning towards action. As she returned her focus to her phone, she felt the push of fate urging her to make a choice, one that could reshape her life in ways she never imagined. Would she respond to Jason, and what ripple effects would that decision create? Clara couldn't ignore the warmth of nostalgia that flooded over her as she caught Lily's eye. It had been years since they'd shared a laugh, their youthful dreams merging under starry skies while they painted the world in broad strokes of color. Here was the reminder of who she once was, an artist with hope and ambition. But did that version of herself even exist anymore? Clara! Lily called, waving enthusiastically. Clara's heart leaped. This was the kind of connection she longed for, the familiarity that made her feel whole again. She stood, almost instinctively, as if her feet remembered the path to friendship that felt so forgotten. Lily! It's so good to see you. Clara hurried towards the table, her earlier hesitation buried under waves of excitement. Come join us. I've missed you. Lily pulled out a chair, her eyes sparkling with warmth. As Clara settled in, the noise of the cafe faded into the background. Daniel faded from her mind too, and with it, the anxiety that had been building up. Here with Lily, she felt lighter, as if the burdens of motherhood had momentarily lifted. They laughed and reminisced, sharing stories of triumph and heartbreak, of the moments that made their friendship feel timeless. I can't believe how long it's been, Clara gushed, her smile widening. Remember our plans to take on the art world together? The galleries, the shows? Lily chuckled, shaking her head. Life had other ideas, didn't it? I still paint, you know. It's been a struggle sometimes, but it brings me joy. Really? Clara felt a flicker of hope ignite once more. I think I've lost that part of myself. I've been so busy juggling everything that I forgot how much I loved it. Lily reached across the table, her hand resting on Clara's. You haven't lost it. You've just tucked it away for a bit. You're still you, Clara. You just need to find your way back. Her words felt like a lifeline, and Clara's heart fluttered with longing. The idea of diving back into art, of picking up a brush again, sparked something deep within her, a thrill she hadn't felt in years. But just as that rush of excitement began to build, a jolt of reality crashed in. Clara's phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with Jason's name. The contrast between the joy of reconnection with Lily and the apprehension of what Jason might want felt dizzying. I have to ask, what is going on with you and Jason? The name looked familiar, Lily asked, her tone turning serious. Clara hesitated. What could she say? That the name conjured a love from the past? That it made her heart race at the thought of what could have been? What if reconnecting with him sent her spiraling away from the very essence of who she was? I don't know, she admitted quietly, glancing at her phone, the message from Jason demanding attention. He reached out after so many years, then why not talk to him? You deserve to find out if that connection is still there. Who knows how he has changed? The conflict within Clara raged. Would this be a step forward, or a plunge back into uncertainty? Fragments of her life spun before her, and she felt torn between two worlds. Finally, Clara looked into Lily's eyes, searching for reassurance. What if I lose myself in that past? What if I can't balance it all? Life is about taking chances, Clara. You owe it to yourself to explore all parts of you. Don't let fear hold you back. The determination in Lily's voice ignited a thrill in the pit of Clara's stomach. She could feel the weight of the decision looming before her. Would she answer Jason, risking the comfort of her current life for the chance to rediscover her passions? As she stared at the message on her phone, a whisper of courage began to take root inside her. Could this be the moment that sparked her transformation? A laugh erupted from the table next to them, shattering her thoughts. Lily leaned in, a mischievous sparkle in her eyes. So what's it going to be, Clara? Are you ready to dive in? Clara took a deep breath, feeling the thrill of anticipation. The choice lay before her like an open canvas, waiting for her to brush it with color. Just as she was about to reach for her phone, a sense of clarity washed over her. But would her heart ultimately lead her back to Jason, or would it guide her towards embracing her forgotten dreams? As she opened her mouth to speak, a sudden thought gripped her. What if the call to Jason brought both creativity and chaos into her life? Would she dare to answer? Clara inhaled deeply, her gaze locked on the phone as she felt Lily's unwavering support beside her. A whirlpool of emotions swirled within: joy, fear, and a long-buried excitement that seemed to beckon her closer. What would happen if she opened that door again? The urge to reach out to Jason felt intoxicating yet terrifying, an invitation to a life she had left behind. What if it's a mistake? Clara finally whispered, her breath shaky. Clara, Lily replied gently, squeezing her hand. Mistakes are part of living fully. If you feel that spark, maybe it's worth exploring. Life is too short to stay safe in the shadows. Clara's heart raced. She remembered the way Jason used to laugh, the way their dreams once intertwined. Did he still hold a piece of that passion they had shared? Could he reignite the artist within her? Yet with each thought, she could hear the nagging voice of doubt. Love from the past could feel like quicksand, and she felt unsteady on that ground. I can't just toss everything aside, she exclaimed, her voice thicker with emotion. What about my family? What if Jason comes back and I end up losing everything? Or what if he helps you find yourself again? Lily countered, her gaze steady. What if he inspires you to paint like you used to? Don't box yourself in, Clara. You deserve more. Those words opened a crack in Clara's uncertainty, letting a breath of fresh possibility seep in. Could this really be an opportunity for renewal? She imagined herself brush in hand, canvas stretched before her, the smell of paint filling her nose, the joy of creation pulling her back into life. The cafe around them thrummed with laughter and chatter, a vibrant tapestry of life that felt distant yet desirable. Clara glanced at her phone again, Jason's message glowing, an open invitation to reconnect. Her fingers hovered, trembling with hesitation. But behind her doubts was the faintest flicker of hope, a reminder that she had once chased dreams under vivid skies. What if I don't like who I find? Clara murmured, her heart pounding against her ribs. Then you find a new version of yourself, Lily responded, her voice soft yet firm. This is your chance to rewrite the story, Clara. Just think, what if you discover more than you lost? Clara looked deep into her friend's eyes, seeing the encouragement there, a reflection of the girl who once dared to dream. With a final burst of courage, she reached for her phone, her thumb poised above the screen. Suddenly, the weight of the decision pulsed through her, drawing out the vibrant colors of her past and present like an artist mixing hues on a palette. Just as her finger was about to tap, the door swung open, a gust of wind rushing in, making the candles flicker. An unexpected chill swept through her, and she glanced toward the entrance. Her heart stopped when her eyes fell on a familiar face. Jason stood there, a hesitant smile revealing a hint of uncertainty. Time seemed to freeze. What was he doing here? Had he sensed her pondering a return? The world around them faded, leaving only the sudden electricity in the air. Clara, he called softly, a warmth threading through his voice that wrapped around her like a favorite memory from the past. It was happening. The past was breathing once again in the present, urging her to confront everything she feared. The cafe was filled with noise, but all Clara could hear was the pounding of her own heart. Had she prepared for this moment? Could this really be a second chance? She thought. As she met his gaze, a mix of hope and fear surged within her. Would she step forward, fully embracing the possibilities that lay ahead, or retreat back to the safety of the known? Clara stood frozen, the choice still hers to make. But the moment was right there, alive with potential. And as Jason took a step closer, Clara felt the canvas of her life begin to shift once more. What would she choose in that instant of transformation? Would she grasp the opportunity with both hands, or shrink back into the shadows she had known for too long? Everything hung in the balance, and her heart uncoiled with eager anticipation. Would this be the moment her art and her life began to blaze with color again? Clara's breath caught in her throat. The bustling noise of the cafe faded into a distant hum, and all she could focus on was the way Jason's eyes searched hers. Every emotion she had tucked away surged forward, compelling her to step into the unknown. "Clara," he whispered again, his voice a soft anchor in her turbulent sea of thoughts. "I didn't know if you'd be here." His smile was a mix of warmth and vulnerability, a thread connecting their past to the present. For a moment, Clara felt the weight of their history pressing against her heart. Memories of laughter in sunlit kitchens, late-night talks about dreams, and soft kisses that seemed to pour light into dark corners of her life flooded her mind. Yet, that same warmth ignited her fears. What if the laughter had faded? What if they were strangers now? "Jason," she finally managed, her voice barely above the clatter around them. "This is unexpected." He stepped closer, closing the physical distance that felt like a chasm. "I know it's been a long time. I had to see you." There was a raw honesty in his eyes that made her heart beat faster. Clara felt Lily's presence beside her, urging her to find her voice. "Why now?" she asked, grappling with her emotions. There were so many years filled with silence and uncertainty, the abruptness of their reunion felt surreal. "I've changed," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "I went away to work on myself to find out who I am without everything that came between us." His words hung in the air, laden with meaning. "What are you saying, Jason?" "I think we both lost our way. But I believe there's still something here for us." His hand gestured between them, but Clara hesitated, fear wrestling with hope. "I can't just forget everything. Our lives moved on. How can we even know what we have left?" Jason took a breath, as if summoning courage. "You'll never know unless you give it a chance. Just like you, I'm scared. But if we step away from the past, what if we discover something new, together?" Clara searched his face, trying to read the sincerity behind the shadows of their history. A part of her wanted to leap into that possibility, to take the risk. Yet another part held her back, fearing that the shards of their past would cut them both deep. "I'm an artist who hasn't painted in years," she said, frustration spilling into her tone. "What if I'm broken beyond repair?" "That's why we start fresh," he responded, his voice gentle but firm. "I can help you find your way back, just as you can help me find mine." A flicker of excitement ignited inside her. Facing her fears could lead to creativity again, the freedom of expression that once defined her. Maybe reconnecting with Jason was a step toward rediscovering herself. Just as she was about to speak, a loud cheer erupted from a nearby table, breaking the tension with jovial laughter. Clara tore her gaze away from Jason, grounding herself in the warm yet chaotic cafe atmosphere. Somehow, life was bursting with joy around them, and yet she stood at a crossroads. She turned back to him, the decision weighing heavily in the air. Would she take that leap? Together, with Jason, could they weave their lives into something new? Before she could voice her answer, the door swung open again. This time, it was a different face, her mother, frowning as she scanned the room. Clara's heart sank. What would happen if she chose Jason and didn't choose her own family? "Clara!" Her mother called, catching sight of her. The moment of truth teetered on the edge. Clara felt the pivotal paths branching out before her. Would she embrace this chance with Jason, risking everything? Or would her mother's presence urge her back to the familiar, cold, and safe confines of her old life. Clara could see uncertainty shadowing Jason's face. The air was charged, and everything hung in the balance. Would they be brave enough to ignite the thrill of the unknown? Clara's lungs filled with the air of possibility, a strange blend of nostalgia and anxiety swirling inside her. Her mother's presence brought with it the pressure of expectation, but so did Jason's unwavering gaze. Here they stood, caught between the past and the future, each other's hopes flickering like tiny flames battling the wind. "Mom," Clara called, a nervous quiver in her voice. "What are you doing here?" Her mother's brow furrowed as she moved closer, glancing between Clara and Jason. There was a moment of tension where the air felt heavy, filled with unspoken words and complicated emotions. "I thought I'd check in, see how you were doing," she said, her tone pointed but concerned. "Everything's fine, really?" Clara insisted, forcing a smile. She didn't want to feel cornered, this moment meant too much. This was her turning point. Jason stepped forward, determination gleaming in his eyes. "We were just catching up," he said, his voice steady yet inviting. "A lot has changed?" Her mother interrupted, eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" "Clara, you've got responsibilities." Clara felt a rush of heat and frustration. "Mom, I know that. But I also want to be more than just responsibilities. I want to reclaim who I am. I've been so lost for so long." "Reclaiming involves risk," Jason added softly, stepping beside her. "It means taking chances to rediscover joy." Clara's heart pounded in her chest. Could this moment shape her reality? What could you possibly find in this guy? Her mother challenged, doubt lacing her words. "You know nothing of his life since you two lost touch." "Maybe it's not about knowing each other's lives," Clara shot back, heat rising in her cheeks. "Maybe it's about being open to the idea that we can learn and grow, together." A silence settled over their trio, a charged silence filled with history and strained relationships. "Clara," her mother finally said, her voice softening. "You don't have to do this. You don't need to search for validation or happiness somewhere else." "I thought you'd understand," Clara replied, her voice breaking slightly. "This is my chance to explore myself, to expand beyond what I've been confined to." Her mother sighed, a mixture of resignation and understanding swirling in her eyes. "I want you to be happy, but I'm scared." "Scared for you?" "I am scared too," Clara admitted, feeling the walls around her heart fervently work against the flickers of hope. "But isn't part of being alive taking those risks?" Jason stepped back slightly, giving Clara the floor. "What do you want, Clara?" She took a deep breath, glancing from her mother to Jason, the weight of her choices pressing on her shoulders. The urge for connection, to paint her life anew, throbbed within her. Would she cower in the shadows, hiding behind fear, or would she run courageously into the light, embracing who she could become? "I want to try," she said slowly, the words tumbling from her mouth like boulders rolling down a hill, gaining speed and momentum. "I want to explore all these aspects of myself that have been buried under endless to-do lists and sacrifice. Art. Connection. Dreams. Love." Her mother's face softened, understanding breaking through as she began to see Clara through new eyes. "You deserve to find happiness, even if I'm worried," she whispered. "But don't forget your responsibilities. You don't have to abandon them." "I won't," Clara promised her. "But I can't ignore my passions either." In that moment, a fragile but unwavering bond began to mend between them. There was understanding where there used to be only friction. "Then let us discover it together," Jason said, hope flickering in his tone. "This isn't just about you and me, but rediscovering who we've both become." Clara looked at him, a wonderful mix of buoyancy and warmth bubbling within. "I'd like that," she murmured, staring into his eyes and seeing reflections of the dreams she once held so dear. Her mother's hesitation began to fade as she softened further, worn down by Clara's determination and resolve. "Then I guess I'll have to support you, right?" "Yes," Clara exclaimed, the answer bursting forth like confetti. "Together we can redefine what this family means, and each of us can take chances." As Clara spoke, it felt as though the walls around her heart started to crack, letting the light flood in. The past mingled with hope, a blend of excitement and trepidation that created a vibrant whirlwind of possibilities. Clara looked at Jason one last time, a spark kindling between them, and felt a deep sense of connection that spoke of new beginnings. Perhaps this moment had come to illuminate the true journey ahead. "Are you ready?" Jason asked with a smile, extending his hand toward her. Taking a deep breath, Clara nodded and took his hand, grounding herself in the present while keeping a firm eye on the future. In the comforting chaos of the café, Clara found courage where she never thought to look. Today had become the first brushstroke on the canvas of her life once more. She felt free, unbound, awakening to the vibrant colors of her dreams. And in that instant, she chose to step forward, embracing not just this chapter, but every story that awaited her heart. This was the moment for transformation. Now that you've experienced this inspiring conclusion to Clara's journey, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss any exclusive stories like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about Clara's journey. Let us connect, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support.